This meeting is.
Hey everyone, welcome to the SIG Network Policy API Working Group meeting on the 27th of August 2024. Let's all follow the Kubernetes contributor guidelines and be nice to each other. We don't have that many items on the agenda, and we also don't have that many members present in the meeting today, so it's just me, Sean, and Nadia. But we can just cover through some of these items given that we have not had a meeting the last 3 times. So quick call out on the fact that we have our KubeCon Contributor Summit registration link up here. Shane has linked it in the Network Policy Slack channel, and I've linked it on the agenda also. So if you have not registered, now would be a good time to also register for the Contributor Summit, and the registration for that one is separate from the main KubeCon registration. And another really nice thing is that Sean has kindly agreed to represent our group in giving our sub-project updates at KubeCon Salt Lake this year. So this is a title to his talk. And Sean, usually the way we've done it in the past, which I know you've also seen us do this in the past, is to have folks pitch in on the slide deck. So if you need any help, feel free to reach out to me or Nadia or anybody else who owns things like Rahul for the FQDN bits, etc.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll probably just crib from the last time slides and go from there.
Yeah, and thanks for representing us there. And then one other admin thing that I wanted to tell was I think Nadia has been already doing a great job in a lot of things across in the community, and she has also been just steering stuff like making sure that the meetings are getting cancelled or are being held correctly in Andrew's absence. So what Nadia and I have decided is we're just going to start co-chairing the network policy meetings in Andrew's absence. So Andrew's left Red Hat and joined a new company, and from what he told me, at least in the immediate future, he probably cannot spend much time upstream. And Nadia has also graciously agreed to help out here. So we will be alternating between the two of us in running meetings so that it's easy on the two of us. And if one of them is on P2, there's still another person. So that what happened when Andrew left doesn't happen again. Because when you have one chair, it's difficult sometimes. So huge thanks to Nadia also for stepping up there. And
thank you, Surya, for putting this all up and continuing this work. So making sure everything runs smoothly.
Yeah, definitely. And also one last thing I wanted to ask was for reviews from Joe and Rahul. I think they were the one, not Rahul, but Joe mostly. I think Cillian was pushing for having at least the use cases we had were from them, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a long time since I looked at it myself, but we had some discussions on whether we should have the network egress peer as a inline peer or if it needs to be a new CIDR object. And I think we went with inline peer because at that point in time, most of the use cases were for that. We didn't see a huge point in having a new object, but then some use cases came along, and so we created an NPEP to see if we should move things forward or not. So I don't know, Sean, if I know for sure Calico also has a separate object. If there are specific use cases that you want to add here, would be awesome to just review this.
Sounds good. I wasn't aware there was an NPEP. Sure, I can add something there.
Yeah, and in case anybody's watching the recording later, reviews welcome on that one. And that's all I had for the agenda. I don't know, Nadia, Sean, any other things you both want to bring up?
Nothing from me.
Is there any update on the tenancy API?
Yeah, well, the update is that we have removed it from the API for now completely, and we have not come up with a new way of doing that. We have an NPEP with a long discussion that I managed, and I've tried to keep all our options that we've considered and discussed there. We just basically were not able to agree on the best API for that case. And also we have more or less imaginary use cases at this point, I would say. So that's also one of the problems. We basically, when we were almost done with the API itself, we figured that we had a different understanding of the use cases. So we basically had to go back, and then we could not quite finalize the use cases for that. So now it's just not really moving anywhere. Maybe
I just know
until we have, yeah.
it's been a long-standing ask to have something in this area from our users and our customers. It usually gets phrased from users and customers as, oh, we want self and not self label selectors, but that's kind of jumping the gun. Like when you boil down the requirements, like maybe that's a good way to represent it or maybe not, but usually that's what users tend to suggest. But it's like, for all the reasons we discussed before, we might not want that. But yeah, it's definitely something that that our users want, and the use case is around, yeah, isolating namespaces by default, and for tenancy like applications, like you said. So
Yeah, I think we can.
shame.
But based on that, we can actually get back to that. It's just like there was no extra push since the last time we discussed that.
Yeah.
I think currently we just agreed to get back to the use cases without wiping out everything we already have said about the API itself.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can find or maybe recover that NPAP pull request, and I'll share it here in the agenda. And then maybe you can add your own extra use cases from the users there.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Yeah, just I wasn't sure if there was a discussion going on elsewhere on the NPAP or something, or if it was if you just didn't have any time to progress it at the moment, or what. But yeah, since the self labels got dropped from the admin network policy, we still kind of have that requirement hanging around to solve somehow.
Yeah,
Yep,
and
that makes
also
sense.
and also from Red Hat side, both Nadia and I, we have shipped it also in our product. So I think we will be hearing more and more of this also from our side, where people want more to use tenancy. So let's see if we can also get some more traction. Awesome. Thanks, Nadia. And we have Jackie join the call.
Yes, hi. I'm
Hi,
happy
Jackie.
to introduce myself.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a software engineer at Microsoft. I primarily contribute to service mesh related projects and focus primarily on networking and security tasks. But I think I'm going to start coming to these meetings and just staying up to date and seeing if I can help out in any areas.
That is awesome. We always have need for contributors, and we welcome any help. And are you in the same team as Hunter, or is that a different team?
I think that's a different team. Yeah, I haven't worked with Hunter.
Cool. So Hunter usually works on the Cyclonus / network policy assistant pieces of the network policy API. But so here's our repos. This group's in charge of the network policy API repo that lives in Kubernetes SIGs. We're also in charge, sort of supposed to be in charge of maintaining the core network policy API, which lives in core Kubernetes. So this one is like the project that is doing out of tree APIs, right? Like admin network policy, which is what we have currently. And in addition to having that, we also have something called CMD Policy Assistant here. And usually this has got a lot of contributions from Microsoft and Hunter, who works here. So, but we're really happy to have you on board. And if you have any questions, look through some of our issues or let us know on the channel. So we also have a Slack channel on the Kubernetes workspace.
Awesome. Great. Thanks so much.
All right, anything else, guys? Anybody wants to bring up? If not, we can end the meeting early.
All good from me.
All right. Thanks all. Thank you for joining. Have a great rest of your day. See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye for now.
Thanks all.